PR Coordinator with Parks and Recreation, then Rosanna McGinnis, the Director of the Lewis Cooper Jr. Memorial Library, and then Captain Shane Healy from the Opelika Police Department. I want to thank our panel for being here, and of course, thanks to Dr. Matt Fulmer. Lee, you're on.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. I want to start by thanking Mayor Fuller and City Administrator Motley and the council for always supporting us in our department. We've been very fortunate to have leaders who believe in communicating the truth, whether it may or may not be pretty all the time. It's what we have to do. They are always open and available to us as well as the public. So we just want you to know that. We have an open door policy in Mayor Fuller's office. So a little bit about our department, just history so you know. I came on in 2016 as a department of one. We did a few things like a newsletter, a couple of major events for veterans throughout the year. We pushed information out and weren't necessarily super engaged. We were just trying to get the information out to citizens. 4 years later, we have Taylor now, and she is able to help me create more robust content and engaging content. Our hope is to continue to grow what we're doing and have this town hall tonight is set up for you to talk to us about how we can better communicate. That's why we're here. Our goal is to push out timely, accurate information and be the gap kind of between the public and the government. So we're here to help you. We want to know what you need, what your concerns are. We know that about 20% of the population does not trust the government, and so we're here to try to help build relationships and build trust. We feel pressure on a daily basis to do that, and we have people out there that sometimes are critical, and we have to just put on our thick skin and deal with that. Communications is a two-way street, so we need for you to talk to us. This is not just us pushing information out. We don't ultimately make decisions in our department. Sometimes I feel like people think that the people on social media that are putting information out are the ones making those decisions. We work with our leaders, our department heads, and we're here to communicate that information, whether that be for an event or a road closure or anything that has to do with the city. So one thing we want to ask that you keep in mind is that there are people behind every one of those social media accounts. They're human, just like you. We're just trying to do our job and do it to the best of our ability. So when you came in, everybody got the packet. There's one-sheeters for each of our departments. You'll see that we communicate in a lot of ways, but we still have people that tell us we don't communicate. So we push stuff out in 10 different ways currently. We laugh about the one with the phone. We call Miss Barbara in the mayor's office our Siri of Opelika, because she goes above and beyond to answer every question that anybody calls and asks. So you're not going to get a phone tree when you call the mayor's office. You're going to get a person, and it's usually Barbara. If not, it's myself or Taylor. Sometimes Joey. So we're here to push out information. We laugh too and say that the only way we haven't done it is get on a horse with a megaphone and ride through neighborhoods. And if we have to do that, by golly, we'll do it. You'll see on here that we have our areas of responsibility. I'm not going to go over that. You can read it. But we do want you to know that our department of two, we do communications for 13 different departments. So it's not just us talking to the mayor and Joey and putting stuff out. We're having to understand and learn engineering and planning and all those different things. So we're trying to push more info out, and tonight we do want to get feedback from you on the types of information that you want to hear. We're lucky to have great communicators. Laura Lee was trained in PR. Rosanna librarian work, but she's a very good PR person as well, and she gets to do a lot of her own stuff. And then Shane is now tasked with the challenge of communicating for the police department, and I know you're going to do a great job, Shane. So I'm going to turn it over now and let Laura Lee kind of talk about Parks and Rec, and then Rosanna, Shane briefly, and then we'll get into Q&A.
Would it be possible to have the video on so people can see you instead of the start of the survey?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Sorry, we will when we get to Q&A. We're
Someone
having,
just texted me, so
I know, we're having technical issue trying to get both working at the moment.
So that all shows to y'all as well.
Go ahead.
Again, I'm Laura Lee Chesser. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay, good. I do PR for the Parks and Rec department, and we are a robust department. People hear Parks and Recreation and they think sports and parks, and it's so much more than that. We're lucky to live in a city where they really invest in the quality of life of its citizens, and that's our main focus is increasing the quality of life. So whether that be through events that we have for the community, really investing in safety for our sports. We don't just put together a roster and a schedule and let them have at it. We're really invested in making our sports safe. So one of the new things that we're doing this past year, we invested in Coach Safely certifications for all of our coaches. It's something that we provide free for all of our coaches to ensure that whether it's concussion training, asthma, allergies, they've recently put in COVID and mental health screenings and information for coaches to learn about identifying those issues within kids. We're really investing in making this, a great place to recreate together. We have Therapeutic Recreation, that's for children and adults with special needs, trying to provide recreation opportunities for them, for children and adults. A lot of our new programs, we're focusing on kids who have aged out. There seems to be a lot of information for, a lot of programs for children with special needs, but once they age out, thank you, Mayor. Once they age out, those opportunities diminish. And so we're starting to come up with new programs to provide services for that area as well. We have a lot of facilities where we provide, activities like line dancing and ballroom dancing and pottery classes and all kinds of things like that, along with sports. In the past 10 years, we got the beautiful of like a sports flex and aquatic center, so we can really focus on the wellness and fitness side of our community and provide something for that as well. We're really lucky that we live in a city who offers great membership prices with a lot of amenities. You won't find anywhere else in town that has amenities that we have, and we try to provide them at a price range that anyone can afford. And we've really made it affordable for seniors. We've partnered with a lot of insurance companies, and so if you are a senior and you have supplemental insurance, you can get a membership for free. So we really try to work with each and every person, try to make it affordable in every aspect that we can, improve the quality of life of citizens for Opelika. We use a lot of different mediums to communicate. We try to put ads in magazines and newspapers and write press releases, but a lot of our focus now goes on social media. And we really love your feedback. If there's an area that we're missing, if you feel like you're not seeing stuff from us, we'd love to hear feedback from you to figure out how we can do that better. The climate around around public relations and marketing is constantly changing. There's new things added every day, and we want to do our best to make sure that each and every citizen gets the information they need, whether it's when do I sign my child up for soccer or when's the freedom celebration, is basketball canceled for today, whatever it may be, is the pool closed. We want to make sure that we're getting that information to you guys in a timely manner. So I'd love to hear any questions or feedback or what we're doing well even. We love to hear that kind of stuff. So if you have any of that, I'd love to hear it. That means I'm next. So I'm Rosanna McGinnis. I'm the library director for the Lewis Cooper Jr. Memorial Library. We're currently at 200 South 6th Street, right across from the Chamber of Commerce and 1 block over from City Hall. If you think of Parks and Recreation,
So to talk a little bit about the survey and why we chose to operationalize a survey to get some feedback is obviously not everybody can be here, not everybody can jump on YouTube. And some folks are scared to share their thoughts publicly. So what our thinking was is if we could do a survey of convenience, meaning that we're not going to proactively go out and try to knock on doors and get information, but we'll give people an opportunity to share what they have to say. So we've got 186 folks that responded, which we know that there are a lot more than 186 people here in the city of Opelika. So we missed out on hearing from a lot of folks, but what we did learn is information that will allow us to start to dig a little deeper. It gives us a direction to start to look, but by no means is this representative of who we think we know in the community and what we think that they believe about communications. So let's talk a little bit about the breakdown of the survey results, and I need to put my glasses back on. I don't know if any of y'all have challenges with wearing glasses and masks simultaneously, but I definitely do. So you can see the breakdown of the age, sex, race, ethnicity of the participants, and the one thing that jumps out to me pretty drastically is we see about 83% of the participants are white in this survey, meaning that we know that the citizens of Opelika are not 83.5% white. So what we have here is probably a solid understanding of what 83.5% of white folks that took the survey believe. So we're going to use this to just sort of guide a conversation, and we look for others who might be interested in taking the survey after today. We will leave it open for more responses, but we'd like to hear from other folks in the community and additional white folks as well. We also need to hear from some more gentlemen. I know that we here have a representative survey, a population of 60% female. So I suspect the population of males is not 50-50, but it could be closer to 50-50, so we do need to hear from more gentlemen. And then we have a pretty decent age breakdown, but the survey was delivered online. So when you start to see some of the age disparities there, you could assume that those that are older in age may not have the access or the technological savvy to take an online survey. So we definitely feel like there's an opportunity to hear more from our seniors in the community as far as how they like to be reached. And so with that, I will turn it over to Taylor to talk about some of the things that we did find from the survey.
Okay, so one of our first questions really about community relations was, where do you receive information related to city news and updates? And we as a city have provided many different resources to get information, and it seems like out of the 410 total responses, and people were able to pick multiple social media channels is the main way people are getting our news. So we also asked what your go-to source for information is, and what is your preferred source of information. And we had 176 total responses for that. And social media, again, won by a lot. Notify Me is our text and email services through Civic Plus, and they came in second along with our website. So this is kind of a breakdown of our different social media platforms. Facebook has been our most used and oldest social presence. There's several posts that we post daily. That's what Facebook is used for. It is used for posting multiple posts daily. And we have started to do updated videos, and we're starting to do Facebook Lives as well. Twitter, we post more about news flashes that link back to our website, retweets about our character words, and if there's any updates on severe traffic or wrecks, and also from Opelika utilities, we also tend to update those. So Instagram is one of our newest ways of communication. We got it right before the pandemic in January. We have about 1,500 followers, and we post about weekly on that. I think today we posted actually twice on that. We had a lot of things to update on. And then YouTube, we created it in 2020 when we started doing YouTube live videos with City Council, and we are starting good breakdown of understanding when people are on Facebook. Here's some more Facebook insights, and when I came on, I guess about 2 years ago as an intern, these have completely changed. So our followers, which is the second graphic, used to be more in the 45 to 54 range, believe it or not. And as you can see, we kind of have more of an equivalent background now to that. So this is kind of representative of the amount of people who are on Facebook. Most of them are in the 35 to 44 range, so the 22% range is actually normal. And then the first graphic is kind of the people that we reach. What's kind of cool about these graphics is you can also see the country that they're in, the city they're in, and the language that they speak. So the people reach, we actually reach about 84,551 people in the United States. I think that's crazy. That's just through people sharing posts, commenting, and it pulling up on your social media. This is our Twitter analytics. In 2016, we only had 430 followers. That's when we came on. And in 2020, we now have 1,783. This is something that we want to post more on. We're working on really making sure, and when the police department comes, we'll probably be retweeting a lot more from them. But more than anything, we tend to retweet from Opelika City Schools and Opelika Utilities. And then every once in a while, we'll post about links going back to our website. And these are our new Instagram analytics. Like I said, we started in January 2020. We had 0 followers, and now we have 1,500. So we are still working to build our Instagram following, and our age range is around the 35 to 44 is our highest age range. So we are working on making sure that we get a younger age range on Instagram, and that will be getting our younger citizens to follow city government. And then our followers tend to be on later at night, and we have about 75% women and 25% men. So we also have a lot of new social campaigns coming soon. Opelika Police Department is going to have their own social media, and they'll have their own community relations department with that, and they're going to be posting a lot more proactive stuff instead of reactive. As you'll see on our social media, our city social media, we tend to post our press releases from Captain Healy when he sends them out, but we don't tend to post as much like proactive stuff. So we're hoping to do that. We're going to try to do a department of the month, so posting different events, whether it's the library, and we have a day where we spend time at the library on a Saturday and talk about the different things the library does, or whether it's the accounting department and talk about finances and the importance of it. So we're excited to do that, hopefully when the pandemic is kind of come to a close. And then we're going to do some city council recaps. So the next day in the morning, we'll have the president of the city council do some recaps. And what's happening in Opelika will be a way for us to update y'all on a project that our planning department's working on, our engineering department's working on, and just keeping y'all really informed on some fun things. But we have a lot more planned, and we can't wait to hear what y'all want as well, to hear from us. And like Lee said, we always have an open door, and we're interested into what you have to say. So you're welcome to take a picture of this and keep it on your phone. If you have any ideas for us, we would be happy to hear from you.
Okay, so that's probably way more about us than you care to hear, but we wanted you to understand what we do and the breadth of what we do, and that we don't just put information out. We're looking at the analytics to try to understand what's going on behind the scenes and who's actually looking at our stuff. So Matt, I'll turn it over to you now, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. Before we get started, we'll go through our ground rules, but before we even get into the ground rules, I do want to thank Mayor Fuller and the city of Opelika. They are good friends to my hometown of Fairhope, Alabama, and our neighbors in Baldwin County. Thank you very much for sending your law enforcement staff, your resources from Opelika Power Services, and so much more. We appreciate y'all very, very much. Going into the town hall format, just like every other time, we have some basic ground rules. The first of which is participate. You are here. We are so glad that you are here. And for those that are joining us via YouTube, you are most important this evening. And Taylor will be getting your questions, and we will periodically be tapping into those so that we make sure that your voice and concerns are raised here this evening as well. Listen, I know it's tempting to want to prepare your next remarks to comment back and think through those, but do listen and try to hear what's being communicated. We are talking about communication tonight, so we want to make a point to really listen to hear what's being said on both ends of the equation, and I know this group really wants to do that. We'll speak in turns and try to keep our comments to about 30 seconds or fewer, and we will have fun. Lastly, I will say that I'm really excited to be here to have a constructive conversation, and I think it's really applaudable that this group has put themselves in a very vulnerable position tonight. And so I just ask that y'all be respectful. It's easy to throw stones, but let's keep the conversation positive. So let's look ahead and find really creative ways for them to reach all the citizens of Opelika in the ways that they're really trying to. So what I like to do with these forums, like we did in the very first forum, is I'll try to work the room to where everybody has a turn, and then we'll take a turn with YouTube. Does that sound good to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all have any questions to direct directly to our esteemed panelists, please reach out and let us know that they're for them. So who's ready to kick us off? Oh, come on. Yes, here we go.
Hi, my name is Allison Allen. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the Alabama Credit Union Association, and we're involved here in Opelika with the youth. First of all, I want to thank the mayor and the panel and the law enforcement for hosting this event and the last one. And I was just in Mobile on Monday, so thank you for law enforcement and utilities for everything that you did down there and the recovery efforts. I saw that firsthand, so thank you. My question is, what are you doing in follow-up? We had some great youth here last week, and they talked about providing their own forum for discussion, maybe a library or a community center or somewhere where they could share their thoughts. What is the town hall's reaction or plan to allow them a forum to express their thoughts?
I'll try to answer that. We are going to be doing, in addition to these town halls, we have done nothing yet. Let me just first and foremost say that. In addition to the town halls, we are going to be doing diversity and inclusion listening sessions in every ward over the next 2 months. So we really want to kind of do that in conjunction with all of these town halls and then regroup to see how we're going to react to the things that we heard. So that was definitely something that we heard loud and clear. We know the youth want a place to go. We know that they want to be heard. And so we took all of those things and we put them into our notes, and we're going to go back after we finish all of the listening sessions and talk about all of that. So they were heard loud and clear. The ones that were here were pretty vocal. So, yeah.
Taylor, do we have anything on YouTube?
Nothing yet.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, but I will compliment Laura Lee. I don't know who does the publication for Parks and Rec, but I saw it for the first time after I went to the Opelika Bicycle Academy, or Bicycle Advisory Committee meeting, and the fall program was just awesome. Like, it was very well produced, had lots of great information, and I just wanted to compliment you on that. So good job to whoever was responsible.
Thank you.
Questions?
Can I follow up, Allie's, with a
means.
question? For those of you who do look at our activity guide, that's something that we put a lot of thought into recently on how it's delivered. Are people picking up paper copies? Are you reading it online? Are you reading it all? I'd love if anyone has any feedback about that. That's something we've been looking at a lot. We've have decreased our printing numbers in the past few years. And this year, we've had, at least a box of them left. And so we don't know if people are picking them up and hanging on to them, whereas before they might be picking them up, throwing them away, and then grabbing another one, or if people just aren't interested in the print. So if you do read that, I'd love to hear from you about how you read it and how you get that information.
And I'll tag on that. Becky Brown is here. We do the On Track and the, what is yours called? The Invitation, in conjunction twice a year, which is a printed piece as well. So we would love to hear, are people reading it? We kind of had the same thing. We had about a box of them left as well. We always get a couple extra hundred printed. So if it's something that needs to go more online, I mean, it goes online anyway, but if it just needs to be that, we know that our elderly population is not as much online. So, we're just in this weird time right now where there's all this digital, but we still have people who want tangible things. So any feedback would be great.
Back to you guys.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question then. Back to y'all. What type of information do you want to see from the city? Whether it's roads or it's project work or it's events, what type of information do you want to see from us? What are we not providing currently? Anyone? So we're providing everything.
One of the things that was in the survey comments was talking about a 311 system. Has that been considered, explored, and maybe talk a little bit about what a 311 system is, and then.
Okay, so when we went to the new website, we technically still have a 311 report and issue system. It's just not called 311 anymore, because when I came on board, I was like, what the heck is 311? So on the website, there is an area that's called report and issue. That you can go on night or day, anytime, and plug your information in. You can stay anonymous if you want to stay anonymous. You can add a picture. You can pretty much do anything you want to on that. We get that in my office and Barbara in the mayor's office, and then we forward those to the appropriate people within the city, the department heads that would need to react to that in some way. In addition, we also have a Notify Me system that Taylor mentioned on the website. You can go on there and sign up for anything you want to sign up with the city, whether it be planning announcements, bidding. You can get bids when they come out, and you can get those through text or email or both. So that's something that we really want to push and communicate to people, is that comes straight to you. You don't have to go look for that information. Anytime we plug anything in, you can sign up for news. So anytime we put a news story, a press release on the website, you're going to get that email or text. So there are ways out there that we're trying to do this. We just need for people to know about it.
And we need you to sign up. We cannot make people sign up.
Yeah.
It is a two-way street. So we
Yeah.
have to have you come to us with your email and provide that email and phone number so we can provide you with more information.
There's a question.
Because of, good evening, everyone. Because of the times that we're going into where everything is going from print to virtual, there are a lot of people who may not know how to do those things. So with the YouTube, you can probably do some YouTube tutorials on how to sign up for a text message from the city. A lot of people don't know, and especially for our elderly community, I have a 70-year-old mother, and her and that computer, I do computer courses over the phone almost every day. This will go great with the library if the library says, let's do a course for our elderly to teach them how to move into this century with the technology, because it's going forward, not backwards, because of everything going on with COVID, and that'll help people. Because I know for me, I had a hard time figuring out how to sign up for bids. Once I figured it out, I was like, oh, that was easy. I just had to click around and figure it out. But for somebody else who may not be as computer savvy, they may not want to figure out and just forget about it, and they're not in the know. So that may help some tutorials or classes.
And one of our biggest challenges is getting to people like your mother. So how do we get to her, for her to know that we have tutorials? So that is, every day it's a challenge in how to reach. But thank you, that's a great idea.
That's exactly what I was going to say. One of the problems with trying to reach folks to learn about a medium they're unfamiliar with is the way we're currently able to do it with COVID restrictions is through a medium they're unfamiliar with. So I know where you work, you know where I work. Let's get together and discuss how that can, like, some ways around that. You know, is there some word of mouth campaigns that we can do to get the younger generations to sit down with their mamas and their grandmamas? And bless you for doing that over the phone. My grandmother calls me and I suddenly have a very bad connection. So I'm a terrible granddaughter is what that means.
Any others? Yes? Coming your direction.
I'm sitting in the back because my phone is dead, so I'm charging it, so I apologize. One thing I want to say for sure is this is something that has been needed for a long time. We need to keep it up. It's going to be hard. We're going to have difficulty attracting people to the meetings, getting them to watch it online, but we just need to keep going and don't give up on it, because I think it's something that I know I'm learning an awful lot these days that I did not know. And I hope that we can continue to do so and everybody else can.
Yes, ma'am. Coming your way.
I have a comment, I guess, as well. I mostly want to just kind of listen because I really don't know the answer either. I was shocked by the demographics, though, that Matt made a reference to, and I really don't know the answer to that either, other than while I was out campaigning, whenever a Facebook Live came up, people were like, get in there, get in there, get in there. You know, hurry up, what are they saying? And I think that may be an opportunity as well. I did hear you mention that you're going to be doing some Facebook Lives along the way. I think you'll capture a great deal of the population that's probably missing from that through a Facebook Live, as long as it's pertinent information, it's real-time information they can use. But in regards to the current website and the information you all are providing, I think it's excellent.
Thank you.
I mean, whenever I have a question about anything Opelika related, I go directly to your website, and everybody is there. Everybody that's listed up here and additional information. So in regards to that, I think you all are doing a great job. But moving forward, I think maybe you're going to probably have to change the communication way, and not just through print, not even through just updating the website. You're probably going to have to, like, it's Kay and Leah. No, I'm just kidding. Something fun.
You think we've got to get a little more sassy?
Oh, okay. So that's where we want to go with that What's Happening Opelika, and we really want to push that as a Facebook Live. And keep in mind that we're also teaching department heads how to Facebook Live. It's scary for some people. And so with the pandemic has been great, honestly, for in some ways. And I truly believe we have become more technologically savvy and more comfortable. It's kind of forced us out of our comfort to get there. So we're really hoping to do more like What's Happening Opelika, and like in 60 seconds, it's going to be an update of what's going on. So.
And one thing that we have on our list, you know, there's just two of us, so we have a list, and then we come up with ideas, and the list keeps getting longer. But we really want to create what we're calling an Opelika University, where we train our department heads so that they can help us, so that it's not just the two of us trying to do everything for the 13 departments. So it's on the list. It's going to happen. But that, you know, that's something that we're trying to communicate better internally as well, and teach our folks how to help us.
What people care about too. A lot of times when somebody is on their job every single day, they might not think something's out of the ordinary. And so, or that the citizens might want to know about that. So we try to say, hey, when is that road opening up? When is that? I mean, our department heads are so busy, and they don't realize sometimes what needs to be communicated. So we are really working on that, and I think we've done a lot better, but we still have a little ways to go.
Let me throw in a couple of things that are on my little old pea brain. And this is a good case in point. Yesterday, someone posted a picture on Facebook of a tree limb that had fallen on a city street. And they were complaining because it hadn't been picked up by the city. I would have never seen it. My time spent with Facebook is not very much, but a friend saw it, contacted me. I, of course, go on, I see it, and it's a complaint about the city had not removed this tree limb. Well, where is the tree limb? Didn't say. So we have to reach out to this person, tell me where the tree limb is. It was a whole big rigmarole. If he had picked up the phone and called my office, we'd have had it taken care of quickly. So my point is, don't think you can communicate with some of us by Facebook. Pick up the phone and call or send an email. Everybody's email address is published. The phone number, we don't screen any phone calls at my office. If it's Joe Hickey, the rag man that calls, wants to talk to me, if I'm available, I'll talk to him. If I'm not, I'll call him as soon as I can. But call, and you'll get a lot quicker action by doing that.
And we weren't joking. Miss Barbara will help anybody that calls, to her detriment.
Yeah.
She's become the Siri of Opelika, and I think she knows more than Siri does, in all
And
honesty.
the other thing I wanted to mention, and I believe this, information is the hallmark of democracy. And the better we can communicate with our citizens, the better citizens can communicate with us, then the better community we're going to have. And it is a two-way street. And listen, I think we're pretty darn transparent. You know, if you're interested in our budget, you can go online, you can see our budget. If you're interested in anything except personnel records or health issues, we don't know that, we can't talk about that, but most everything is open and available for the public to see.
I think that is also an excellent point about the contacting via phone, because we need to make sure we distinguish that to our citizens too, to let them know Facebook is not the place to air out certain things. You know, we will respond. I'm sure at some point we have to, huh?
Good luck getting convinced.
Well, you know, all we can do is communicate it to them, is that this is the best method to get the best result, and that is to contact this number. You know, so, and I think too, once we communicate that and also use Facebook as an avenue to put information out, not necessarily like when you want to respond to me, go to Facebook and do it. Just make sure we are clear about that, because we do not want to create a situation where there is a Facebook argument back and forth. So just make sure we communicate that and let them know there are different avenues. But we do have to realize Facebook is the best way to get, according to your survey, information out. So, but
Yeah,
that's great information. Let them know.
And
that-
if people send us a private message or comment on Facebook, we respond. I mean, we don't let things sit there. Sometimes they may sit there for a few hours because we're busy doing other work. But we're always going to respond and try to get that information back to them or connect them to the people that they need to be connected to. So we do try to do that. But you're right. We're not here to start a fight on Facebook. That is not our goal at all, ever. So thank you for bringing that up.
Good to go.
Thank you. One recommendation I would have is, I really like the idea of the Notify Me system that you've got. And if we could do maybe as a super comprehensive initiative, kind of like what you guys are doing with the census and Mayor and his red hair and all that stuff, something that really put a well-rounded plan around getting people to sign up for Notify Me. I just feel like that's such a huge opportunity to connect one-on-one with the people Everybody's got a phone and they are using it, and that's the way to get to them. And then I would just really personally just recommend, like, one of the challenges in today's day and age is you have to communicate where the people are. And if they're on social media, you got to figure out how to do that properly. Totally agree with the back and forth and bickering, that's no fun, but figuring out the right way to manage that communication so that you can communicate where they're at.
Taylor, do we have any questions on social media?
No, not tonight.
Okay. Well, YouTube, you are more than welcome to ask questions, and Taylor will field them for us. Are there any other questions or comments in the room? We've got about 10 more minutes or so before we wrap up, but here's your opportunity.
I just want to thank you all for this forum. I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
And it's very much needed. I wish there were more people here sharing it, but I think it's great.
We do too.
And Lee mentioned this earlier, but a reminder about our listening sessions. We'll have the first one, and all 5 will be in this very room right here. Ward 4 will be on Tuesday, October 13th. Ward 2 will be on Thursday, October 15th. Ward 1 will be on Tuesday, October 27th. Ward 3 will be on Thursday, October 29th. And Ward 5 will be on Thursday, November 5th. And these are scheduled for 2 hours, from 5 until 7 p.m. And this was brought about because of our wanting to know more about being inclusive and diversity. We think that that's important to our community, and we hope folks will take a part from those individual wards. Will come and we'll have a moderator. I don't know if is Matt.
Arturo's the one
Arturo,
doing that.
Arturo, Dr. Arturo Menifee, who is an Opelika citizen, is on the Opelika Planning Commission, will be the moderator for those. And I think it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for our citizens, and a great chance for us to hear from folks and to do more listening and less talking.
And if you start looking for that out anywhere yet, you're the first ones to get this information tonight. It is not out on social yet. We will be starting to push everything out next week with events and that kind of thing, out to the paper with a press release and all that good stuff, so.
If I sign up for this information and give you my email and cell phone number, am I going to get more opportunities to buy extra warranty on my car and things like that?
Not through our website, sir.
But,
But
Thanks,
but that
sir.
information stays with the city. It doesn't go anywhere else.
Correct.
Great point to raise.
To further on that, we don't even share it within city departments. So if you get on Notify Me and you sign up for planning stuff, but you don't give a hoot about what the library is doing, you won't get information from us. So it's
Yeah,
very
you're opting
secure.
into what you're opting into. I have one more question. What would motivate you? Obviously, you're motivated because you're here, but what would motivate you to get more involved with the city of Opelika?
I've done my part.
You sure have.
Thank you. I'm happy to go. I want to echo what Allie and I think these ladies said and shaking their head. It's one thing to want to be involved in the community, but it's another thing to be included. And as you're talking about through your social media campaigns and reaching out, you all have done such a good job of inviting us to come here and share our voice and be a part of the community. Just because we want to be involved doesn't mean necessarily that we feel included in the community. And in this community, I really feel included, so thank you.
Wait, you do feel included?
I do feel included.
Okay.
For anyone on YouTube, I do feel included.
Great.
Thank you, yes.
Any other questions, comments, ideas?
I know we've asked a lot of broad questions here today, but if you couldn't come up with an answer tonight and you think of something next week, I'm sure we would all love for you to email us, message us on Facebook, whatever it may be, and give us that feedback later. If it hits you at a later time, we'd still love to hear from you.
I just had one comment, and I noticed the gender issue that, it's a 75-25 female involvement. So how do you plan to reach out to get men involved with social?
Okay, I'm gonna flip it back on you. How do you want to get involved? How can we communicate to you? Because like I said, we are trying, we are in 10 different places. So that's what we're here for tonight, is to have open communication and see how can we get with you and get you involved.
I don't know that I know the answer to that. My wife keeps me up to date on what's happening on
Your
social.
wife.
That's the easy way to do it.
Just
So
keep her on social media.
Maybe we just get women to just spread the word.
Well, and that's actually, it's so funny because the Facebook analytics for Facebook as a whole is more woman dominated.
Yeah.
So women dominated. And so, and I truly think that women do spread the word with their own mouths to men. But I think that when we start pushing out more updates on engineering and traffic and stuff like that, like we have recently, we have seen that grow. And so we'll continue to do that and continue to share those so that they feel like it's not just an entertaining thing or an engaging thing. It's truly informational as well.
So type of content.
One thing that was raised in the comments that came into the survey was an app. So some communities have neighborhood apps, some cities have apps. We've talked about apps before. Can you speak a little bit to those that have requested apps, and what's the history of that with the city and where y'all are looking?
We had an app when I came on board. It was not very well received. I mean, people didn't sign up for it. When we changed the website and went responsive, we felt like we didn't need another platform because we're putting everything on the website now. One thing that we are looking at with the police department is having an app specifically for them. And our fire department has an app that we're still working on. So, so the city as a whole, our site is responsive and we put everything there. That means that when you go to your phone, the site shrinks and resizes to your phone appropriately. Things build into your phone so that you're not looking at like a tiny little website, that it looks like on your desktop. You're looking at something that you can read on your phone. Does that make sense?
And I just want to say a little bit about kind of piggybacking off of what Lee said with the app for the police department, something that we actually had a meeting today about, and it's something that I guess one of the keys when I first got put in this position was trying to figure out how do we reach our end user? How do we talk to the people that we need to talk to and get our messages out? In the police department, we don't have a lot of the challenges that some of y'all do with COVID because we're still going and talking to people face to face all day long, all night long, all the time. And we kind of talked about using our app when we're out there talking to people is everybody's got this and everybody has it in their pocket. And when we get our app up and going, our officers can, while they're talking to those folks out on the street, hey, pull your phone out, let me show you how to get onto our app so you have a way to get information from us, a way to get information to us that could be in a private way. There'll be some different things on there that allow people to do those kinds of things and get to the information that they would like to get to and see from us. So I'm really hoping that we're able to get everything put together with the app like we want. I don't think that's going to be a problem on the technical side. It's going to be that learning curve on our side at the police department on how do we get people to buy into getting on that app so that we can have that two-way interaction. So we're really excited about that, and hopefully it's going to be a way we'll be able to tie all our social media and everything in through that as well. But again, our officers, when they're standing face-to-face with somebody, have an opportunity to leave something behind that now leaves an open way of communicating. So that's what we're really excited about.
So we've got about 1 or 2 more minutes left. Any more questions or comments for the good of the order?
Very quick.
Just going back to Mayor's comment earlier about the Facebook picture and things like that with the tree limb getting picked up, it just reminded me maybe some sort of texting system where people could message an issue in like that. I don't know how we would man or actually receive those texts and process those out to the right people, but sometimes people are just more comfortable to type something out than to pick up the phone and call, or maybe it's laziness, who knows, but maybe some sort of texting system could be beneficial, that it's a two-way way where they could submit something.
Yeah, and
Kinda like the app.
I'll look into that with the website, with Civic Plus, to see if there's anything we can tie in with them on the back end to make that work.
Well, and going back, we can always answer on Instagram or Facebook through our messenger, and it sends a notification straight to mine and Lee's phone when you send it through notifications. So if you send it through Messenger on Facebook, we'll receive it faster than receiving it on Facebook and getting tagged in it and having to go through all of our notifications, because we have not only our own, but the whole city.
Well, and sometimes people just post stuff and we find out about it, like the mayor said, because a friend saw it. They didn't tag the city or, anything like that.
And
So
especially if
that's
it's a
where it
private
gets
post.
difficult.
That one was a private post, so I couldn't see it. So it was people who were friends who were able to see it and were able to tell us.
One more, Taylor, do we have any questions from YouTube? And we've got one more item that will close us out, so we'll leave.
Lee, did you say the 311 number is gone? It's no longer available to the citizens of Opelika?
I don't think we ever had a number, did we? I don't think we ever had a number. I think it was through the website, but it was called 311.
Familiar with that style. I guess I'm gonna piggyback off of what Mayor said. I'm in a group that doesn't Instagram, Twitter, and I do text, but that's only because I get something I gotta respond. So, but that 311 option, I think is important to reach that population that doesn't have a desktop at home, doesn't have a cell phone, and does all the grand things, and they don't pay attention to that. That meeting. So if we could keep something like a 311 or an option like that to our elderly community and our lower income community, I think that would be important or be a good resource to the city. So that limb that pops up, everybody's familiar with 311 and they'll press 311, and usually it directs that person to the department that can address their concerns.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that because when I came on board, it was strictly online. But I'll check on that.
I just think that
Yeah,
would help for people who are not as technologically savvy and I'll look in the mirror and say,
sure.
All right, well, we've reached the 6 or 7 o'clock hour, so Lee, do you want to close this out?
Yeah, thank you all so much for being here and sharing your thoughts. Please do call any of us if you think of anything later, and please do join us for the listening sessions in your particular ward. We're looking forward to that. I think it's going to be great, and I just appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura Lee.